Life was filled with guns and war, and everyone got trampled on.
Alright, so I'm going to share the following video for a few reasons. So I believe what this video contains is of the utmost importance, and as many people as possible need to know about it. Now, I talk about a lot of things on my channel. I talk about flat earth, and flat earth gets a lot of attention, and you can freely talk about flat earth without offending people. People might lose their shit, you know, at the sheer mention of it, but you can talk about it openly without causing offence, because they just make you, you know, out to be a moron. I talk about other things, the so-called conspiracies. I've spoken of 9/11 quite a lot. I've spoken about the Holocaust a fair bit. All of them, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, that history is orchestrated, it's not real. The world is just one complete stage. A whole heap of stuff. I talk about the conspiracies all the time. Now, because truth is difficult to handle and causes offence, and your ears don't want to hear it, it doesn't mean it's less important than flat earth. Okay, so this is real. What this video contains is real, because I've been following Casey a long time, and when I say long time, I'm only just over 2 years into this, but he was one of the first channels that I found, and I follow his work, and his work is top notch. And as I find Christ more and more, and Christ reveals himself to me more and more, it becomes completely apparent to me the way Casey conducts himself and the way he lives his life, that he's doing exactly the same as what Jesus wants me to do. He wants me to repent this world and walk with him in a different direction. And that's what Casey appears to be doing. So, because you can't understand it, well, your ears don't want to hear it, it doesn't mean it's less important. I've encountered a lot of channels of late that, and Jesus does it all for me, a lot of channels of late that were leading me into the Masonic pit. And the way God's working for me is that he's just said to me, Brett, if they say globe, you're out. If they say, and I think Casey says it in the early part of this, but I've heard him talk about, he's addressed the shape of the earth before, but he just doesn't want to get involved in it. It's not his thing, and that's cool. You don't have to talk about everything. He talks about other things which are important. Okay, so I think he says it early in this clip, but I know it probably contradicts myself, but I trust Casey. And the Lord has said globe to me, not to out Casey. He's out it because I was getting taught false doctrine, and this isn't false doctrine, this is bloody true, what this video says. He's also said, if you sense Freemasonry at all, because what he's done for me is he's exposed Freemasonry for exactly what it is, on all levels. Like, I don't pretend to know what goes on inside, and I don't care. I think they're idiots, and I want nothing to do with them, but God has exposed, Jesus has exposed them for me in full. So that's another thing, that if I see that, if you do that thing, just stuff with your hands, Donald Trump talks like he's doing sign language. Blind Freddy can see he's a Freemason, and when you take into account that Hitler was a Freemason, I mean, you start to get the picture of what's going on here. You know, you want to be a police sergeant, anything. You know, you've got to be a Freemason in life. And you need money, but I could go on all day. This is about, which they have lots of. This is about Casey's video. So, the content of this video, now I believe in my heart, I don't feel Jesus has revealed this to me because I haven't prayed on it. but I will pray on it. I believe that where this happens at the grassroots level, because that's where I live. I'm just a guy on the street. I don't claim to be anybody special in the world. I'm just a guy on the street. So that's how I see the world, from the street. Now, I believe the way this manifests on the street is your local Catholic church. To me, it just makes sense. It makes sense because in the media they reveal some truth, because media, again, is just orchestrated theatre from Israel. Now, they give you some truth while they deceive you, and there's a little bit going on there, isn't there, about pedophilia in the Catholic Church. And the head of the Catholic Church, the Pope, I've spoken about the Pope on previous videos. The Pope represents the bearer of light, the 1,000 points of light. That's why he's always dressed in white, and that's why he's always illuminated. So if you're a Catholic and you presume to be walking with God, you're either a liar or both. You're either just a liar, or you're a liar and you're walking with Satan. It can't be any other way with the Catholic people. Okay? So this is where I believe all this stuff goes on that Casey talks about at the grassroots. Now, this video's got a few sections in it. It's sort of the first bit, the Toy Story stuff. He decodes, it was an ad during Super Bowl, apparently. It was for a new Toy Story movie, a trailer. Now, when you watch this, as you have to do with stuff on my channel, is you need to watch it through the prism of truth. Don't try and dispute it. Don't try and go, oh no, because that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to get the truth out about what they're doing to our kids. Okay? So you can walk around the street and you can pretend to be offended all you like about things you see on the TV, and get on your high horse and flood social media with outpourings of emotion for this, that and the other, and not turn a blind eye to this. Okay? Because that makes you a hypocrite of the highest order. This is important. It's of utmost importance. These are our children. Our children. Now, the second part of the video, he talks about how the electoral systems, how they're rigged. And I've been thinking about how I'm going to go about with voting in the future. I've already made the decision that I'm not going to participate in terms, I'm not going to number the boxes. But my next query within myself now, and there, how do I present myself when I go in? Do I just go straight to the box, or do I pretend to vote, and just put it in, or cause a scene, or what? The next question, the one I've been grappling with over the last few weeks, is do I participate at all and just get the fine? Because I'm not walking this way anymore. I'm walking with Christ. And after watching this video, I believe Christ has spoken to me and gone, Brett, because there's a reason why I watched this video. And those of you not walking with Christ, you won't get it. You'll just think I'm hearing a voice in my head. But he manifests, he answers prayers. He just answered another one just a minute ago. I'm thinking about how I'm going to do the video about that, about our spirituality and stuff. It's just, whoa. He just keeps answering prayer. Otherwise, how do I get answers to my questions? All right, so the second part, he talks about how the electoral systems are rigged, and that's right, that's what I was saying, how they're rigged, and how I'm going to participate with them in the future, within election day. Now, after watching this, I've just got to accept it. I think they call it cognitive dissonance, and accept the consequence. There might be a fine or something, but then do I pay the fine? That's going to be the next thing. You just keep praying. Okay, so watch with an open mind, through the prism that it's true, because it is true. It is true. I mean, if you need it proven to you, you can look through that prism, because it will be proven to you. But if you don't see it for what what's happening after it, you really don't want truth. Okay? And if you don't want truth, that means you don't want truth. I want it. I want lots of it. But in any case, without any further ado, without any more of me, here's the video.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to the show. A lot to talk about. We'll probably be on here for about an hour. And for most of you, the country is starting to warm up a bit. We had some really cold weather, so I'm glad that we have a break. It's just so weird that everything started warming up right around the Super Bowl, right? Weather warfare. A lot of good channels out there covering these weather anomalies and how it seems as though the weather's being controlled by these people. And of course, we had the government shutdown ending just days before the Super Bowl. Now, what we're going to talk about today is, it just never ceases to amaze me how our reality is constructed and how deceived people are. The handful of people that come to this channel out of the billions of people on this planet, you guys are the most awake people in this time. And you have to be proud of that, but also not give up the fight, because this is all about helping other people to wake up to the deception. Now, today we're going to talk about the Toy Story 4 Super Bowl ad. And at the end of the show, we're going to talk about the story of what's going on in Venezuela. And I'm going to show you guys some facts, evidence. I'm going to show you some things that may be a little uncomfortable for you. And I may have some people unsubscribe from this channel by the time we're all said and done. Because enough is enough. So what's going on with Toy Story 4? Well, we're going to decode this live. Now, I took a really quick glance at this. I'm going to play it in slow motion. And basically, we're going to show you how in our faces this stuff is. Now, we've already decoded all of these different Toy Story films, TV shows, and everything going back. We've decoded all of these. And in every single one, we found very troubling patterns. Well, what troubling patterns might those be? Polaroid pictures, subterranean prisons, adrenochrome soccer balls in weird places. I believe that was in the Toy Story that time forgot. We also have themes of abduction, themes of trade or trafficking, okay, where these toys are traded on the market, on the black market. Several of these episodes, like in Toy Story of Terror, there's a man that owns a hotel, and he takes Polaroid pictures of the toys, which are code for kids, right? Children. And he places them online and on like an eBay type site, and he auctions these toys or children off. The same thing happens in one of the other Toy Story films. I believe it was Toy Story 2, or it was probably Toy Story 2 is what it was. Same themes. And again, they're in these subterranean prisons. Okay. We also have themes of cannibalism. That was in Toy Story 1. And torture. Again, that was in Toy Story 1. Now, we've covered all this in detail. If you just do a channel search on this channel for Toy Story, you'll find everything that we're talking about. I'm not just making this up. So in summary, every single Toy Story film and television special had themes of this stuff. So it would make sense then that Toy Story 4, the newest installment, has not released yet, but it'll be releasing soon, would have the same themes. Now, we decoded the trailer, one of the trailers to this, but there was a new trailer that released on Super Bowl yesterday. And that's what we're going to cover this morning. Now, YouTube is not sending out notifications for these live shows for some reason. Something changed over the past couple of weeks. We had a couple of good weeks where they were sending out notifications, and you can totally tell the difference. I think we had 350 people come out to watch the show a couple of weeks ago, and now they're not sending notifications out for some reason. I don't know if they reset everything, but everyone needs to check their bell notification to make sure that they're still signed up to receive the notifications, because I think that's what changed. I think Dabu had the same problem. I was watching Underground World News, and basically like 500 people were watching, which never happens on Underground World News. So his notifications didn't go out either. So how do you combat that? How do we keep sharing information? Well, each and every one of you should be sharing these live shows when you're watching. Share it to all your platforms, your Facebook, your Twitter. And so that all the people that you know that channels like this are going live. Otherwise, people miss the show. Well, let's get into this. I want to make this big screen here. I got this in slow motion. Again, you're not going to be able to hear this, but that's not what's important. Now they get right into it. Actually, we could put the captions on here. Turn this sound down. So the story continues, right? Here's Woody, of course. And I think this is Bo Peep, I think her name is. Okay. So we're looking for repeated symbols. As I just demonstrated to you guys, every single episode is about trafficking and imprisonment. And sure enough, the next component that they're going to reinforce in our mind subliminally and brag about what they do to these children are the zip ties. Now, we know that zip ties are used to imprison people. This is what the elite use in their, their armies of police officers and stuff. This is how they detain people. They put zip ties now. Handcuffs are a thing of the past, right? Now it's all about zip ties. So Woody says that Buzz must be held up somewhere. Okay, you see the captions here. Buzz was supposed to meet them, but he's being held up. Where's he being held up at? He got zip tied to a steel cage. This is where they hold children. We talked all about this stuff. This should be of no surprise to people that come to this channel because these themes have repeated. So the subliminal here is that Buzz is zip tied in a side of a steel cage. When you have eyes to see, you see these things. And then we see the Saturn balls, of course. Okay. Because that's what all this is about. Sacrifice, Kronos. And we also see the stars within stars. This is called the paper clipping effect. A smaller shape within a bigger shape. Splitting off of one's personality through trauma. And then they can control the mind. This is how they turn people into super soldiers, right? Now this gets more graphic in a minute here. But what you're looking at here is these zip ties, is the imprisonment. And you notice, look at this. When you slow everything down and you begin to look, you see that they want you to see the zip ties. Because look, they basically computer generated a zip tie here, and one here, where there shouldn't be zip ties. And of course, zip ties are blue, right? Why didn't they make the zip tie black? So here's Buzz in his cage, his subterranean cage. Look at this. Stainless steel. Underground pantries. That these people, this is where they lock these kids away. They're soundproofed. They're air conditioned. They've got ventilation. And here we have the stainless steel type stuff. Now, we saw this in John Lasseter's Pixar studio. He had this ventilation shaft room that you had to crawl into, and they had all these fez hats and the Shriners and animal skin, fur, right? Leopard print, safari, and we decoded that too. Now, if you're in the dark about all this and you're new to this channel, you need to go and look and just do a search Toy Story, and it'll all come together. If you watch just one episode or one video, you're not going to get it. And you know what? You're going to give up. But if you stick with it and you watch 4 or 5 of these things, you'll see the pattern, just like we're showing you right now. So this is some sick stuff. Now, John Lasseter was exposed. He was CEO of Pixar, and he depicted his own self. This is how arrogant these people are. He depicted himself, I believe, as Lotso hugging Huggy Bear, right? Why? Because John Lasseter was going around hugging all of his employees inappropriately. And he was fired, or they're considering firing him from Pixar because all these people basically started suing him. Okay? This is what's going on. So he depicted himself as Lotso hugging Huggy Bear, right? Which was a bear that was in Toy Story, I think it was 3. Check in with you guys real quick. Right on. Again, share this video. Thumbs it up, you guys. Every time you thumbs up a video, it shares it. So let's keep going with this because it gets deeper. So here we go. Buzz is held up. And we showed you this rocket blast here. The Star Adventure. This was in the last decode that we did on the trailer, the first trailer that came out on Toy Story 4. We showed you that this is representative of a phallic, right? And you know what else? I mean, I don't have to get into more detail than that of what you're looking at here with this Star Adventure spaceship. I mean, what spaceship shoots a laser beam that drops or falls sideways? Okay. This is an act here, is what you're looking at, of emission. Okay. And they're mocking us because that's what all this is about. This is a sex cult. So here he is, and the analogy of this is an underground subterranean, even though it's not really underground. It really kind of is. This goes on, and you see all Saturn's everywhere. Saturn, right? So he's held up by Astro Boy. Okay. And there's the chicken. Now, we talked all about these chickens. Okay. Chickens represent children. So watch the dialogue here. He says, if you think you can take our top prize spot, you're dead wrong. Okay. So what is this? These are the prizes to the elite, right? The children, but they're analogizing this as toys. So you have the Tweety bird or the chicken, which is the top prize. And then below that is Buzz. And the bird is saying, you're not going to take our top spot up here. Are you guys starting to see what's going on here? Okay. And the rabbit is at the top. We've seen the elite in their art depict children as rabbits too. They dress up in these bunny outfits. I don't know if you guys remember the art that came out not too long ago. It was related to some of these elite people. They had their hands on some of this art. And they were dressing up in very inappropriate bunny costumes and then representing children with it. Okay, so these are your children. These are the top prizes, the bunny rabbit and the chicken. Okay. And they're all in prison, right? They're all being held in these cages. And there's Buzz. And we also exposed that Buzz represents a vibratory toy. Okay. When you look at him, that's what he is. Buzz being the play on words, right? Of that toy. that's used for sexual activity. What shocks me about YouTube is we can, people can talk about all these things in different contexts till the sun comes home on YouTube. They don't care, okay? But then when you expose the stuff, when you show things for what they really are, all of a sudden YouTube has a problem with it. All of a sudden there's age restrictions and all of this for simply telling the truth. Now, what's the effect of this? You're probably thinking, oh, well, that's not what they really mean. Or even if they did mean that, that's for adults. That's for adults who want to get entertainment out of these kids' films. Okay, so think about that statement. Some people are giving Pixar a pass by saying that when you go see a kid's film and you have to take your kids, that the adults have a right to get the inside jokes, inside sexual jokes, and that that's okay. They're trying to approve that and say that that's okay. And think about that statement for a second. You've got subliminal sexual innuendo coupled with kids' subject matter. And if you think that's okay, then we are in a world of hurt. Our country is truly broken. Now, here you see the faint hints of a pedo spiral. I can't confirm that, though, because it's a little obscure. So I'll leave that up to you to decide. Do you have this on high def? So they're, kicking him in the head, right? And let's see what they say next. Why'd this go off? I know there's more dialogue here. Okay, I just reset this. He's saying something here, but I can't. So he gets the chicken gets his foot stuck in his thing, and that's pretty much the end of this trailer. Now, apparently, this aired during the Super Bowl. At this point, I'm going to actually take requests from you guys. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's where we're going to do this, you guys. I'm going to put a comment here. I'm going to pin it. I want to take care of any requests you guys have for Super Bowl commercials. I'll put those all together in one video and hopefully have that up by tomorrow. So, requests for Super Bowl commercials here. So, put your requests for whatever Super Bowl commercials you want me to decode, and then we'll take care of that for you guys. Let's pin this comment here. Now, I won't be able to do them all, but give me the ones that are most profound to you, okay? And then we'll do that. Now, let's get into the second part of this show, and that is Venezuela. Now, to all the Christians who voted for Trump, your number is up. I tried to warn everybody, and this is where I might lose some subscribers. I tried to warn people. When you vote, you're giving your consent to whatever that leader does. Murder, death, rape, whatever the case might be. And I'm not saying Trump has done all those things, but he's done many of them. And he'll do it in your name because you voted for him. Now, he's revealed himself, finally. And the media is now agreeing with him. I'll say that again. He has revealed himself, and the media is now agreeing with him. You're probably thinking about what? They're agreeing with his foreign policy on Venezuela. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at the headlines today. The media is behind Trump in helping, quote unquote, Venezuela. Now, I uploaded a video iPet goat, and there is a D on the cap of George Bush. And I told you this probably meant Donald. This is the scowl of Donald Trump. The red light that you're seeing here, shaded on his face, is a mockery of his reddish orange color. It was there all along. We just didn't see it. Who would have guessed that Donald Trump would have been president in 2012 when I Bet Go 2 came out? Why else could this be Donald Trump depicted here? Because he's hanging under the strings of the devil's hand that has a dollar symbol on it. And Trump is the richest president to ever hold the office, 10 times over than the second place runner-up. So, how has Trump revealed himself? Well, patterns will tell you everything about who is in control. Here's how the pattern has gone with the last 4 or 5 presidents, starting with Clinton, Obama, Bush, and now Trump. They're all the same person in different suits. First, they get elected under the guise of ceasing to engage in nation building. Okay? Kumbaya. We will no longer be involved in nation building. We're going to get out of all these conflicts. We're going to start making America great again. We're going to put America first. No more meddling. No more involvement in foreign policies. Those people, those presidents are then voted in under that premise that everything's going to change now. Clinton did it. Bush did it. Obama did it. Trump did it. And then some type of catalyzing event happens. And if that doesn't happen, sanctions are imposed by the United States onto these governments. Who suffers? The people. But when you look at the mainstream media in the US, they blame it on the leader. They blame the suffering of the people on the leader instead of where it really should be placed. Why would you put sanctions on a country knowing it's going to hurt the people first? And then the pattern is that the leader of those countries is then demonized by the United States. Then there's a war cry and a rally of all the American people lying and saying the people are suffering at the hand of the leader instead of where the real sufferings come from. And then there's a cry for democracy, right? Even though we don't even live in a democratic nation. Nation where 40% of the people don't even want their children to be vaccinated. Yes, yet the laws force children to be vaccinated before they can even go to school in many states. A place where same-sex marriage was approved in places where 60 to 70 to 80% of the people were against it. It's not a democracy. Place where we're led into conflicts without even the approval of the American people. Do you see the problem now? So, we get the demonization of the leader in these foreign countries and a cry for democracy, followed by invasion, armed conflict, and overturning the government. Gaddafi, Hussein, Ahmadinejad, Assad, Every single one of those leaders I mentioned are at various stages of the psyop pattern that I just described to you. Now, here is the arrogance of it all and the hypocrisy. There's even a Wikipedia page talking about regime change by the United States. This is how in our faces it is. Now, look, if this is how America ran its country and this is just what we did every single time someone was elected and we just all accepted that, I wouldn't even, this would be a non-story. Wouldn't even be talking to you about this morning. The point I'm trying to make is every single one of these presidents said they weren't going to do this, and they turn around and do it. This is what's happening in Venezuela right now. Now, here's the map. Okay. These are all the places in the world. Let's go through the list. Now, starting in the 19th century, U.S.-Mexico War, Samoa, 1890s, Hawaii, Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, China, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Russia, Panama. Now we're into the Cold War. South Korea, China, Greece, Philippines, Egypt, Italy, Syria, Iran, Guatemala. Guys, there's only 200 countries in the world. Laos, failed coup attempt against Syria, Indonesia, Lebanon, Iraq. You're in the chat saying, oh, you're going to believe Wikipedia. Unsubscribe right now. Because all of these articles can't be wrong. Bay of Pigs, Cuba, Brazil, Iraq. They're all footnoted with substantiated links and footnotes. Vietnam, Indonesia, Greece. Now, many of these, no troops are involved. These were CIA attempts at overthrow, subversion of foreign governments to meet the demands of the United States and our interests. Blood in the soil. Here are the articles. Here's the proof. Here are the footnotes. In case you decide you don't want to be brainwashed anymore and you want to actually look at the facts of all of the involvement in all of these foreign places. Again, if this is just how we operated, if we were like Britain, who they make no apologies for their world conquering ambitions, right? British colonialism is part of their history. They went down in Africa. They pillaged and raped and grabbed whatever they wanted for resources. And their people understand that. That's part of British history. But American history is a lie. We're saying, our leaders say we don't do this, but this is exactly what we do. Here's the proof. So, what I'm going to say next is going to blow your mind. And this is going to help put things in perspective for you. YouTube is actually on Trump's side. Whether they're actually doing it or by default, by promoting or allowing these bots and algorithms to automatically thumbs down into any anti-Trump videos. Now, they're selective about how they do this. A lot of it's based on if somebody's working or not. I've seen strange things happen on YouTube. A channel I follow called Blackstone Intelligence is under heavy fire. Anything critical he says about Trump, he is met with hundreds of thumbs down bots. Now, why do I say they're bots? Because by now, There's nobody left in America in their right mind, unless they got the education of a third grader, that can excuse the actions of Trump to this point. There's no way he could continue to sustain the support that he's gotten and the perception of his popularity by the right on YouTube. It's just impossible. Too many things have happened. Now, obviously, we're here on this live show, and there has been no attack yet. But that's what I'm telling you. This stuff goes in cycles. Oftentimes, too, this is why I'm doing this on this day after the Super Bowl, when all the trolls are hung over. See, the elite reward one another, excuse me, with perks. And to the elite, events like Super Bowl are very important. I believe this is why they reopened the government for the Super Bowl, so that all the government workers could go and see their Super Bowl and go to work, and all the contractors could get paid. Okay. And so I believe YouTube is actually working together, and the right and the left work together to push the agenda. What's the agenda? Now we know. Pam says Trump was put in office to take down deep state pedophiles and Satanists. Okay. Name one, Pam, that has gone to jail that's worth over $1 million. And that's the end of the argument. Because this stuff goes all the way to the top. Yet none of these people go to jail. At the end of his administration, if only low-level criminals were taken off the street, then that reveals itself for the psyop that it is. Because it reveals that the elite were protected in this dragnet. Okay, so George Bush was executed. Okay. Good luck with that. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying good luck with that. If that's what you truly believe, then you're truly lost. I mean, I can't even believe that I just read that. Like, really? Okay. So we just have to pray for people like Pam, okay? Let's not be mean to her, because that's not going to solve anything. That feeds right into their divide and conquer tactics, okay? We're not going to get mad and evil at Pam right now for where her mind is right now, and her belief and trusted faith in a man who she'll probably never meet, who has her completely brainwashed. We just have to pray for people like that. And therein lies the problem, guys. This is a perfect example of what I'm trying to describe to you, of what's happening. Here we are at the brink of invading a country. Pence is coming with very strong language in his press releases. You don't know what I'm talking about? Go to some channels like Blackstone Intelligence. They're way better at showing these clips. I think High Impact Flicks also did a really good video showing what Pence is saying. And the words that are coming out of Pence's mouth and John Bolton are the exact same words that they used before Iraq, Iran, Syria, all of these things. It's the same rhetoric. They just repackaged it, and they're putting it back out there for Venezuela. And if you can't see that, then God help us all. I don't know what else to say, you guys. It's getting scary now. You know, in this iPad Goat, this Bush character who morphs into Obama, and who I believe was Obama, Bush, and Trump incarnate, because the D on his cap is also a dunce cap, but it also, I believe, stands for Donald. He starts mumbling. Bush starts mumbling some words. He says, fool me once, shame on you. And of course, this was a mockery of Bush because he totally screwed up the saying during his presidency, during a press conference. And he got all mixed up and he couldn't even remember, what the saying was. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's exactly where we're at in American history. We've got fooled over and over again, and now it's our fault. Now it's our fault. Now, many of us are awake, but not enough of us are awake to make a difference. And that's the problem. And that's why I'm here doing the show with you this morning. All right, you guys, let me go in the chat here. Let's see if we have any requests yet to decode some of these Super Bowl ads. And I'll check this. But put all your requests down here if you're late to the show. We're accepting requests for decoding Super Bowl ads. Now, I'm not going to do the obvious ones with Illuminati pyramids and all-seeing eyes. Okay, we're over that. That's third grade understanding at this point. We need to get on to the deeper things. So we're talking occult symbolism. So if those will be the ads I'll be looking at. They go very deep and expose their plans and their arrogance. We did a video on Matthew McConaughey, who did a film called Killer Joe in 2011, 2012, just 3 years after he opened a foundation to help 12 to 18-year-olds. He's done. Why is he done, Casey? Well, in the film Killer Joe, a girl depicted as a 12-year-old is repeatedly abused by Matthew McConaughey. Why would you be in a role like that 3 years after you opened a foundation to help 12 to 18-year-olds? Now, the 12 to 18-year-old thing is coded numerology. What do you mean, Casey? Well, 12 is 6 plus 6. 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6. And there's 6 between 12 and 18. So what you have is 666, 666. And there you go. These people don't make any apologies. They don't backtrack. They don't say, I wish I wouldn't have starred in that role, or they relish in it. They make millions of dollars in it. Their wealth is built on this. And now, this is fueling America's sin. And the writing's on the wall, you guys. Everything that we talk to you about on this channel is the beginnings of judgment. Make no mistake. When you're out there beating the war drum to invade a country or voting for these psychopathic criminals, that's your judgment. The end of times, when God opens the books, he's going to say, you didn't actually kill that person, but you might as well have, because you were part of the spirit that voted and elected these people and empowered them to do what they wanted. Words mean everything. If you protest other people's actions, that is all God needs to hear. Oftentimes, if you don't have physical power to stop what is happening in the world, just you voicing your protest to it will absolve you of judgment. But if you're on the other side of the fence and you're supporting these actions and these people, even though you've been shown the lies, that becomes your judgment. People ask, well, what can you do? Well, God is in control of everything, but you can support God by being awake and not supporting these people, these evil Satanists. That is what you can do. It's pretty simple. All right, let me go back in the chat here. Let me see what's going on with you guys. Now, all this is going to intensify over the next 2 years. Trump will show his hand even more. As we told you, I've been keeping track of all the Trump tards that have come to my channel. Not in a weird way like I have a list, but I have comments that I can go back and search through. And I'll be pulling all of that up when all of this is done. And we will expose it all because you'll see the patterns. You will see the psyop. I'm going to show it to you of what we just went through with this presidency. You're going to see how they've tried to basically divide all of us. You're going to see how they've tried to undermine the truth community with this. You're going to see the groups of people that have mobilized to create this. You're going to see all the people who were here just to make money by supporting Trump, all of the channels that got on board with the Trump chain. You're going to see a pattern, and it is going to blow you away. Then you're going to see the truth. This is why I allow dissent on my channel. This is all about destabilization. This is how the CIA works. This is how they work. So we got to wait for that, though, because we got to wait for the presidency to be over. And they're not going to slip through the cracks and come up with the age-old excuse that, oh, he would have done it, but he was opposed by the left. That's called the left-right paradigm. That's a psyop. That's how they continue the deception. They just say that the other side opposed them and they couldn't get it done. And nothing gets done, and this keeps going every single cycle. And we keep falling for it over and over and over again. And as long as they keep the left and the right going, they can always use that excuse. Don't you see what's going on? So, what can you do? You can just be awake. You can stop giving your spiritual consent to this madness and start giving your consent to understanding what God is trying to show you. And that is, this whole thing is a farce. It's all a big circus act. Exactly. LZ Love Cats. Now, if you haven't checked out Lively Locksmith, I see him in the chat. Really good channel. I don't know how that guy doesn't have 100,000 subscribers or more. I don't agree with everything he says, but like 90%, 99% of it. And he does similar work to that we do on this channel, but he finds different stuff. And for some reason, well, we know the reason. YouTube has censored his channel. He only has a few thousand subscribers. I've mentioned him several times on this channel, and he doesn't get the recognition that he should. And that tells me he's over the target. So, for all the 270 people watching, go subscribe to his channel. All right. What else do we have? All right, guys, I didn't want to make the show too long. Hopefully I got through to some of you. We have to pray that that this thing in Venezuela doesn't escalate into bloodshed. Okay? That's my prayer. That's all I care about. More soldiers' lives. Okay? More deceived people. The spiritual responsibility of the people that are behind Trump, I'm worried about that. We need to pray for those people because they have no idea what they're promoting and pushing. And there's going to be spiritual ramifications for beating these war drums again. I've been to this show 4 times, you guys. Clinton, Bush, Obama. I've been through it. I've seen this pattern over and over again. The story hasn't changed. which is why I see the pattern. So we have to pray for those people as well that are deceived still. Bam, he hasn't taken down any pedophiles that have made over $1 million. And those are the ones that matter because they're the ones. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's work with Pam here. We have an entire black book of people that was confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein. Trump was on that list in that black book, as were many other socialites in elite. None of those people have gone to jail. That's just one example. Kevin Spacey. Okay, we have a name. Is he in jail? Not yet. There's lots of people that have been accused of this stuff. I'll agree with you on that. But that's part of the psyop. These people are fall guys. They take the fall knowing that either they're going to get paid big time for helping to give the illusion that something's done. But at the end of the day, these people do not go to jail. Their freedoms are not taken. Why do you think Spacey delivered a pizza to the paparazzi? He was mocking. Exactly, True Set You Free. It's all a show. When we see footage, when I can go and sign up on a list and go visit Kevin Spacey in jail, which would only be one person, so to me that doesn't count. Okay, let me put it to you this way. The higher percentage of people perpetrating these crimes are in Hollywood. If I've shown you nothing else on this channel, it is the pervasive themes of pedophilia in every single film you watch, almost. Okay, so if that's the case, use your critical thinking here. Why aren't any of those writers, directors, judges, actors, actresses, why aren't any of them under investigation or in jail? If they're desensitizing our children to this stuff and grooming them through these films, all the films we've decoded on this channel, which is pretty much every single one, why aren't there investigations and dragnets and sting operations and things busted up? Why didn't the State Department or the FBI look into all of the people in Epstein's black book? Why aren't any of those people gone to jail? All the elite of New York, why aren't they under investigation? No one's going to jail. And I'm tired of rumors of people going to jail. Until you see them behind bars, I think this is pointless. All right, you guys, we got to pray for people that are in the dark still. I'm going to get off of here. Love each and every one of you. Thanks for showing up this morning. Keep your head up high. Don't forget, put your requests for any Super Bowl ads that you want decoded down in the comment section